So let's do a problem now from homework number 12. I'm pulling this straight up because we're going to use StatCrunch for this problem. It says in the accompanying table, the random variable x represents the number of televisions in a household in a certain country. Determine whether or not the table is a probability distribution. If it is a probability distribution, find its mean and standard deviation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and snip this and put it onto our board so that we can do a little writing while we have a chance. Okay, so this is now our probability distribution, and let's just review what that means. In this case, x represents the number of televisions in the homes in a certain country, and it looks like it varies from 0 to 5. Over here we have the probability of each of those happening. The probability of a family having no television sets is 0.01, or about 1%. Probability of one television is 0.13, and so on. Now, in order for this to be a true probability distribution, these probabilities have to add up to 1, meaning there's no other possible option. There are no homes with 6 TVs or 7 TVs. If that's the case, this won't add up to 1. So if I go ahead and just on my calculator, 0.01 plus 0.13 plus 0.24 plus 0.27 plus 0.21 plus 0.14, do that on your calculator and it will in fact equal 1. So therefore the first part of that question is done. We have confirmed that it is a probability distribution. So if that's the case, then how do we find the mean and the standard deviation? Now I do know in class we discussed the mean of a probability distribution equaling n times p, and the standard deviation equaling the square root of n times p times q. But we were not given the values of p and q in this particular problem, so we can't use this method. We would have to actually, to find the mean, we would have to create another column here called x times p of x. And we'll go through this in class, but we would have to sum this up. This is how we can find the mean. So the mean is actually equal to the sum of x times p of x. You probably see that in your book and things like that. We're not going to take the time to go through that step. We're going to go ahead for this problem and let technology help us. I'm going to go back to this table here, and we're going to click on this icon. I'm going to copy it into StatCrunch. Now if you get your StatCrunch tips out, the ones I gave you in class, you'll notice for a probability distribution, if you go down to Chapter 5, homework number 12, right there on the StatCrunch tips, it tells you to click on Stat. We're going to click on Calculators, scrolling down to Custom. And then we are going to select values in X. X is always the values, the number of television sets. X equals 4 is the probability of having 4 television sets. So our weights are always the probabilities. Okay? I'm just going to go ahead and compute that. Now don't worry about the graph right now. We'll get into that a little bit later, but what I do want you to focus on is the mean right here and the standard deviation here. We are told that the mean is 2.96. The standard deviation equals 1.27. And I'm not quite sure what the problem said in terms of where we round. Let's take, we are supposed to round to the nearest tenth. We can go ahead and plug that in. It looks like to the nearest tenth would be 3.0. It's just 3. Let's check that answer. All right. And the standard deviation is here, and therefore we will check the standard deviation also to 1/10. We came up with 1.27. That's going to round to 1.3. All right, and that's how you do that one. Go ahead and give one a try.